Hey, this is C in Detail. I'm Chris. This is MMA for you. I'm going to be doing my post-fight analysis for InvictaFC 1. Some notes to come out of this event. It was a great event. I don't know how else to say it. One thing that was really interesting is that as you went up on the card, you can tell that the skill level just kept getting higher and higher, which it should be. That's how it should be. The Kansas crowd was great. They didn't boo the fighters. Even during fights like Malloy Gutierrez, for example, that was a bit tentative. Excuse me. The crowd is great. I like King Mo and Julie Kedzie in commentary. Marinallo, you either love him or hate him. But King Mo, man, that guy was dropping knowledge. I can't believe. He's very straightforward. I liked him in the commentary booth. This guy, he knows his stuff, and he's very, he's very honest, I guess. Like, for example, I think it was Nigdali Rivera Kalanic. She was doing this spin move, and he's all like, "Oh yeah, that was a cool spin move, but honestly, it's kind of garbage." It looks cool. He said, "Yeah, it looks cool, but it's kind of garbage." And so, I liked him in the commentary booth. Looking forward to the second event. Very good main event here. Shayna Baszler's going to fight Sarah McMahon. Sarah McMahon is one of the top prospects in women's MMA. She is hitting rock bottoms on her opponent. I mean, it's crazy to see her ragdoll some of her opponents. It's a really good night of fights. Let's just get right to it. Okay, Marloes Coenen beat Romy Russin by unanimous decision. Good game planning from Marloes. She'd beat her up on the feet, pin her up against a cage. Romy would go for she'd try and pull guard, but she's already up against a cage, so it's just really ineffective. And Marloes just, like I said, good game planning on her part here. A bit curious to see if she's going to stay at 145, as there isn't a lot of challengers at 145, and there's more than enough challengers at 135. A rematch with Liz Carmouche would be really cool. The winner of Shayna Baszler versus Sarah McMahon would be cool. She gets re-signed with Strikeforce. There's some good fights for her there. Amanda Nunes, Alexis Davis, rematch with Miesha Tate. Heck, she can fight Ronda Rousey, and that'd be a good fight. With Romy, I didn't like before even the fights, during the weigh-in, that a lot of these females missed weight. I believe it was 4 of them. Moving forward, I really hope this isn't a problem. Otherwise, one thing that was really noticeable though is Romy only had 6 fights. Coenen 25 or so. I mean, just more than 20. And you can definitely see the experience difference here. Romy's still young. She's only 22. But she's largely one-dimensional at this point. Hopefully she can get her striking a little more up to par, and even get some more offensive takedown ability as well. I know she has a judo background. You didn't really get to see it much here, though. But yeah, good win for Coenen. I'm curious to see where she goes from here. I think she's better suited at 135. At the very least, there's just more competition there. Okay, next fight after that, Jessica Penne is going to beat Lisa Ellis Ward in the 3rd round by TKO. This is a really bloody fight and a really cool fight as well. The ground game, awesome stuff. I liked what I saw from Penne. She is so flexible. I was seeing things on the ground I've never seen before. She's in the bottom and side mount, kicks her legs up, gets a crucifix armbar on Ellis Ward. I mean, it is really cool. And it's very interesting too. This is at 105 at atom weight. A lot of people including myself, I'm not familiar with atom weight with women's MMA, and Jessica Penne, she's really impressive here. And Alice Ward, despite losing, it was a true warrior here. She was just leaking blood. I think Penne hit her with like a knee or something in the third round that just destroyed her nose. It's great stuff here. Really good to see. Curious to see what the 105 women's division offers. If I'm not mistaken, I think Michelle, the Karate Hottie Watterson, fights in this division as well, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm really curious to see moving forward what this division has to offer. Okay, next fight after that, Liz Carmouche beat Ashley Curry by first round TKO. Liz Carmouche was just too much for Ashley Curry at this point of Curry's career. It's a one-sided beatdown and pretty much a mismatch. Stylistically, Curry's a stand-up fighter. I think she's has some pro boxing experience, and she's a southpaw, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't really seem to know what to do on the ground. She's only 1-0. And she's fighting Liz Carmouche, who did really well against Mars Kunin, fought Sarah Kaufman, fought in Strikeforce, and is generally just a good fighter for her division. Carmouche's record doesn't really indicate it. She hasn't fought the strongest of competition, but you kind of have to assess Carmouche with the eye test here. It just her wrestling's good, and her top control is solid, and she's just really strong as well. And I'd like to see her against an Alexis Davis or Amanda Nunes. I think she could beat. She might even be able to beat Nunes if she can take her down. Even if Carmouche versus Miesha Tate would be really cool as well. I can't see Carmouche beating Sarah Kaufman again. Stylistically, it's just not a good matchup for her. But there's some top 135ers that I can see Carmouche fighting. I think she should be fighting definitely higher up at this time. Curry, I kind of wish in hindsight that they gave her someone more of a stand-up fighter. It was just too much too soon for her at this point. A lot of these female fighters need a lot of cage time. Let's hope InvictaFC will provide that. Next fight after that was the fight of the night as Caitlin Young fought Leslie Smith to a draw. It's a great fight, man. I think Leslie Smith's she's a Gracie fighter. She was just going forward, eating punches and throwing her own. You can definitely see that kind of like a Diaz thing with her, I like the striking from Caitlin Young, especially her kicks, but she was using straight punches, and it was really good to see this type of this is Invicta's Bonner versus Griffin, when it hit the ground, there's some really cool scrambles as well. I mean, standing up on the ground, good stuff. From what I read, they both got the win bonus, which is well deserved. I hope to see a rematch between these two very soon. Okay, next fight after that, Sarah D'Alelio beat Vanessa Mariscal by submission due to strikes. This is pretty much just a beat down here. I mean, Sarah just really beat down Mariscal. She would slam her down, pass guard, take her back, and just start beating her up. I like Sarah D'Alelio's game, back control. That's the thing, it was really good. She just stayed with it. She wouldn't get turned over or anything like that. Stand-up still needs a lot of work, but, I think D'Alelio only had 6 fights coming in. One thing that, I'll say oh yeah, these people need work in this area or whatnot, but a lot of it's attributed to the fact that a lot of these females just can't get fights. I mean, you look at some of the records, they don't have that cage time to really fine tune whatever skill they need to work at. and just apply what they learn in the gym into a real MMA bout. That's the thing. So hopefully Invicta will be able to help in that regard as well. One thing that's also really noticeable with a lot of the fighters here actually is that a lot of them have some very interesting looks. I remember being on the forum as the fights are going on, and a lot of people are saying, "Yeah, Sarah Delalio's crazy looking. She looks like a serial killer," and don't take that the wrong way, because that's good. You want to stand out. That's gonna help you sell more. That's the thing. If you look at a guy like an Overeem or Lesnar, I mean, part of their appeal really is their look. That's the thing. You gotta promote. Part of the fight game is promotion, and if you can use your look to sell, use it. It's good stuff. I mean, that's just the fight game. That's just the way it is. Otherwise, I liked what I saw from Delalio. Her stand-up needs some work, like I said. But, yeah, like you said, I liked her ground game. It was very solid. I really like how good her back control was. I was just really impressed. They'd roll. She'd stay with the back. She wouldn't get turned over. So I was really impressed by that. Okay, next fight after that. Was Sarah Schneider versus Sally Krumdiak. Schneider beat Krumdiak by armbar in the first round. This was a really good ground battle. Sarah Schneider's record is 5-5. But it's really deceptive. Her ground game, I know she practices American Jiu-Jitsu, is very solid, and you saw it here. I believe Krumdiak was on top, but Schneider would, I guess it's like underhook the arm. I forgot what it's called, but she would secure the arm pretty much like under her armpit. I think if I remember the fight correctly, she went for a triangle, but then still held the arm in the same position and then transitioned to the arm bar. Great stuff. I liked what I saw from the ground here. And speaking of which, as far as predictions go, this was one of the fights I missed. I only missed 2 fights. Well, 3 if you count the draw. So I missed 3 fights here. So I picked Krumdiak to win, Schneider won. I picked Gutierrez to win, but Malloy won. And I picked Caitlin Young to beat Lozzie Smith, but I went to the draw. Otherwise, back to the fight though. I'd like to see what Sarah Schneider brings. Next fight after that, this was actually kind of like a theme of Invicta here. These are really neat submissions I've never seen before. Amy Davis beat the Night Queen Nigdali Rivera Kalanick by Kimura. I've seen Amy Davis's fight. She was a stand-up fights before, and she's mainly a stand-up fighter. And Nigdali, she pins her opponent, gets a cage, gets a takedown from there, and works from there. This was really cool because Amy Davis, they somehow scrambled. I kind of forgot how the sequence happened, but Amy Davis kind of had this triangle choke. It's kind of sideways, but she was on top, and it was I think it was a reverse triangle. The arm was there, and she took it and got did a Kimura. It was just really cool. I've never seen it before. So it was just really good stuff, and you got to see some of the ground game of Davis, who's mainly a stand-up fighter. So good stuff there. I was really impressed with that actually. Next fight after that, Sarah Malloy beat Michelle Gutierrez by unanimous decision. I was kind of disappointed in Gutierrez here. I've seen her fight before, and she's a lot more aggressive. She seemed really tentative in this fight, and it cost her bad odds. Good win for Malloy. She was just she had more output, really, and was just really outworking Gutierrez. Just throw in more. Whether they connected or not doesn't really matter because she was just doing a lot more than Gutierrez was. And there's really not much else to say. Glad that the Kansas crowd, though, didn't really boo this fight or anything like that. So that was really cool. Okay, next fight, I thought Randy Miller beat Molly Estes by third round TKO. There's a lot I want to say about Randy Miller. One, it goes back to the looks thing about Randy Miller. I know she's 28, but, I'm not trying to insult her here. It's just, she has a very interesting look. She has, this, kind of like this afro thing going on. But to me, she kind of looked like a mom in a way. And don't take it the wrong way because, once again, it's the whole idea of, having a very different look, So it's cool with me, One other thing is my expectations for Randy Miller are very high. She's getting kneed a couple times and hit a couple times. Miller's striking didn't look that good. Her takedowns, considering her Olympic bronze medal, wasn't that good until rounds 2 and 3. But man, her ground and pound was just, I wouldn't want to be there, man. She has lunch pails. She's got bricks in her hands. I mean, it's kind of like Munoz or someone that just has this naturally strong ground and pound, and she just has it. I mean, when she hits, it looks like it hurts, So that's good, That's the thing. And my expectations for her were pretty high. You see Sarah McMahon doing really well, giving rock bottoms to people. You see Ronda Rousey armbarring everyone in the first round, and you kind of think, oh, Randy Miller, Olympic medalist, she's got to have some awesome takedowns and stuff like that. But wasn't the case, So my expectations weren't met. But regardless, she can still learn. That's the thing. I do feel she got hit, and I kind of wonder if she was kind of shell-shocked from that. But it's fine, like I said. You have a 1-0 fighter versus a 0-0 fighter. It's an ugly fight, I'm not going to lie. But the expectations, shouldn't be that high if you consider their records. Both these are pretty much like MMA neophytes. I hope to see Miller improve her wrestling game, actually. Her wrestling for MMA needs some improvement. Her striking needs a lot. There's one time when she jumped and punched when she didn't really need to. But hopefully they'll bring her up. She'll be able to get some more cage time, and that's a big thing. That's a big thing here. Like I said, there's this asterisk of oh yeah, these people need to improve something, but it's yeah, they don't get a lot of cage time. You can't expect them to be good at something if they can't really apply it in real MMA bouts. That's the thing. So Molly Estes actually impressed me a lot. I didn't think she'd do that well, and then she's kneeing Miller pretty bad, man. That was good stuff from her, But Randy Miller, her ground and pound, deadly stuff, and don't want to be there. And next right after that, Ashley Cummings beat Sofia Bagardai by unanimous decision. I'm kind of on the Ashley Cummings bandwagon right now. Simply because if you had more Ashley Cummings in women's mixed martial arts, you wouldn't be able to complain or look down upon the overall skill level. I mean, she's probably out of all the fighters here, she's arguably one of the more well-rounded ones here. She was striking really well with Bagardai, taking her down, she'd strike, and then she'd go for a takedown, and she had solid top control. I mean, it was just, I think her amateur record's great, but her pro record's on 2-0, but she's just really solid at every aspect of the game, and that really impressed me, actually. I'm looking forward to seeing Smashley moving forward. She just seems extremely well-rounded. Really, the other thing that's really impressive about her was her composure as well. She seems really composed in there. Sophia, though, she was good. I gotta say, I liked what I saw from her. She was always, more or less, just always in the fight. When the couple times she was taken down, she get back to her feet. Her striking pretty solid, especially around the first round. She should probably move to, I think this was at 115. Yeah, this was at 115. She should definitely consider just going to 125. It seems like a better weight class for her. But yeah, Sophia looked good as well. I like her striking. I liked her ability to get back to her feet. So good stuff there. Okay, and finally, Cassie Rodish beat Megan Wright by guillotine choke. Megan Wright, there's not really much to say here. It just, is not exactly, Cassie Rodish, there's some potential with her. Megan Wright, she doesn't seem like that good a fighter, to be honest with you. Good for her for, getting into cage. I respect anyone that gets into cage. Just looking at it from a more trying to be more objective. It's I don't know how she got caught in that guillotine, to be honest. But otherwise good win for Cassie Rodish. Some other final thoughts. I was very skeptical about InvictaFC, to see, just how it do. I was always of the opinion of female fights are highlighted because they're a novelty, and having men's fight, it adds because they're alongside the men's fights. But this card, honestly, I think went past expectations. There's some bad, obviously, but there's a lot more good than bad here. I can definitely see an InvictaFC on HDNet. You got Pro Elite, Legacy, Maximum Fighting Championship, XFC, Shark Fights, I think's on there too. Honestly, I don't think Invicta wouldn't be out of place there, to be perfectly honest with you. This is a really solid showing for them. I liked what I saw. It's very different, not just because because they are female fighters, but a lot of them just had a lot of different looks to them, which is really good. Everyone was able to be distinguished apart from each other. And there's some things I've never even seen in an MMA cage. It overall is really good. It definitely I've always been a supporter of women's MMA, but made me a believer that an all female organization can work to a relatively high level. I'm not going to say they're going to be the next UFC or even the next Bellator, but like I said, I don't really see why they can't be as good as a Legacy Fighting Championship. I don't see why they can't get an HDNet deal and be able to sustain themselves. Judging from what I saw here, it seems feasible. It seems more than feasible. That's the thing. So yeah, that's pretty much it for my InvictaFC post-fight analysis. If you have any comments, just leave them below. And that's it for MMA for you. Thank you guys very much.